Alright, so now we're going to take our blood and we're going to do our microhematocrit. So I have my EDTA tube. I'm just going to give it a couple inversions here just to mix it up. About 6 or 7 usually does the trick. This tube, sorry, it's on the other side. This tube we drew from another dog earlier from surgery. We've had you use it for our CPC, so one of our other technicians got a little bit of blood on it. But we drew up to 90%, and then our CPC machine reused a little bit, and now I'm going to run it for the microhematocrit for this. So what I'm going to do is pop the top, and I'm going to take one of our microhematocrit tubes, little itty bitty tube, and I'm going to stick it into our sample here, and I'm just going to slowly wait for it to draw up the amount needed. So usually we're going to draw 2/3 to 3/4 full. It's just taking a little bit of time. I find that if I try to keep the hematocrit tube as horizontal as possible, it seems to draw a little bit faster, go a little more smoothly. Alright, so that's pretty good. I'm going to wipe this off on just a little Kim wipe, like so. And then I've got our clay tray, and I'm just going to firmly but gently push it into the clay to create a clay plug on the end. Alright, so like I was saying, we have our nice little clay plug on the end. I have another microhematocrit tube. They're actually fairly close to being even. I'm going to put these together into our hematocrit spinner. It's a little slightly different centrifuge than we had for the one before for our big tubes. And then I'll get these spinning to pull out the serum. And same with the other ones, I want to make sure that they're balanced, so I will put them on opposite sides. And then the way I put them in is so that the clay plug here points to the outside of the tube, or of the centrifuge. Just lay flat. Alright, and then I will turn this on. This only takes about 3 minutes or so to run for the microhematocrits. So I'll get that started, and I'll be back in just a minute when that's done. Okay, so our samples have finished spinning, our hematocrit samples, or microhematocrit. I'm going to take them out. So this is our first one. And then this is the second. So because of the way our machine is, they lay flat, it tends to get this little hookup right there along the sides. Sometimes if I let them sit for a little while, that seems to help keep that dissipated, and you can already see it's kind of, I don't know if I can get this to focus on that. It's kind of starting to settle in a little bit with that. But that just kind of is the way with our machine. So you can see too, this is all the nice clear serum. This is all of the blood cells. There is almost no area of lipemia in the middle of them. This dog has been fasted for the last 12 hours prior to surgery, so I had a really good fast, no blood in the samples, which is great. So not much of a buffy layer there. Sometimes you'll get also the white blood cells and other things in the buffy layer, but that is all clear. So now that I have our 2 serum samples, I am going to use our little microhematocrit reader to get the accurate packed cell volume. This is our little one. Alright, So the way this works is we take our sample and it holds right into this nice little slot. And I need to slide it up so that the red blood cells, actually I gotta put a place, I'm gonna put this down, hold on. So what I'm gonna do is line up the red blood cells to the bottom, and then I can slide it back and forth so that the serum is up at the top to 100%. And then I read from the bottom, make sure this is all even. Get it as even as possible. Okay, so I think you can see that. So the packed cell volume here is about 36% here. The serum goes all the way up to 100. So our packed cell volume is 36%. And I am going to put that into the computer, which is right over here. So let me get that set up. Right thing. 36%. Okay, so that is in the computer. And that should be all set for that packed cell volume. And then I'm actually going to use the other one to verify it. So this is our other sample. We're just going to do the same thing. Put our red there. Slide the whole darn thing so it matches up. And you can see we get the exact same sample. So it goes to 30, 2, 4, 6. And this is more like 35. But I think I can line it up a little bit better here. There we go. So, yep, pretty much 36%. Okay, so now we are going to take the plasma part of our sample and measure total protein. Use our refractometer. And I've got my sample here, and I have a microscope slide. So what I'm going to do is use the microscope slide to notch the microhematocrit tube just above the buffy coat. So there's a very, very thin buffy coat kind of settled and forming. I don't know if you can see this little tiny white line right there. So I'm just going to use the corner of this slide to kind of just try to get a notch there to make it a little bit easier for me to break. Just need to get some serum out. Just going to do it like a centimeter, millimeter, not too far up from the buffy coat here. Just going to give it a little notch here. Alright, hopefully that'll be good. I also have a paper towel here just in case I make a little bit of a mess. So I'm going to very gently break this. Alright. And then I'm going to kind of let the, I'm going to put down, so this is my break. And I don't want to get glass on my side, so I'm going to be very careful with this. I don't want to cut my fingers either. So I'm going to put this down on my paper towel. I'm going to kind of let my serum slide down my tube a little bit so that it's kind of on a workable position. And then I'm just going to stop it with my finger. I'm going to open up my refractometer, and I'm going to put some of this right on here. And I'm using the end that I did not snap, as I do not want to get glass or risk contaminating with the buffy coat. So once that's done, that down, and put that in, so then it's a nice closed seal. And I'll show you so you can see me. We have lights right up here, so I'm going to hold this up to the light. And for us, in this refractometer, the total protein is off to the left. It's measured in grams per deciliter. And this one is about 6.5 or so. It's right in the middle between the 6 and the 7. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a wet paper towel. And I'm just going to put a little bit of water on our refractometer, dribble it off, and then just wipe the whole thing down with our Kim wipe to clean it. We want to keep it nice and clean so that it doesn't contaminate. And then I'll enter that in the computer and I will have our doctor check to verify for you.
The value is 6.5.
Thank you.